Hey guys, it's Alicia.
And Kelly.
And we are here to do a very special video.
Yeah, we've had a lot of viewers. Not a lot. We've had some serious comments from some people who viewed, and we got this kind of like a FAQ. This was something that came up a few times that we kind of hesitated to address, but we felt like it should be addressed because it's important. And I do want to say, before we get into it, I do want to say that really we're talking from our own experience with this. It's not law. It's not, just kind of take it for what it's worth. If it's information that you can use it. If not, but I just want to kind of throw that out there.
And we always try to say that in every video where we're discussing something. I mean, a lot of times you may not even notice it, but we're having a conversation in between each other like, yeah, we should do that. Or, yeah, these are things that we're working on in our relationship and things that we're facing in our relationship. And we just want to share those things with you guys.
Right. I had someone ask a question. I actually had a couple of people ask this question of, when do you go? When is enough, and when should you walk away from the situation? And this was very interesting to me because, we talk about a lot doing what you can to make your relationship work. And we believe that there's a lot of things that a marriage can survive, but there are things that are really taxing on a marriage that, maybe you should consider on whether or not you should stay or not. Mm-hmm. So that's what we wanted to talk about.
So you're going to notice in this video that we're going to probably have some discussions on camera because I may feel a certain way and he may feel, another way. So I do want to make that clear on what he's saying.
There's a couple of things for sure that I've just kind of observed that you should really consider whether or not you should stay or leave. One that comes up a lot is infidelity. Another one that I've heard was this was another topic that came up that, let's talk about infidelity. A lot of marriages have survived infidelity. It's not an uncommon thing. I think, and this is just in my opinion, I think when you should consider leaving a situation behind infidelity is when it becomes something that is a normal thing. This is happening on a regular basis. The person is not showing any signs of wanting to stop those infidelities. Because again, I do know many marriages and many relationships that have survived infidelity. I've actually been in relationships before that survived infidelity. But I do want to say that, you have to really look at the intentions of that person long term and if this is something that continues to go on. So that question did come up. And my suggestion to that person is that, if you're in a marriage, you're in a situation that you want to save, I'm not going to say that you should walk away because of infidelity, but I am going to say that you need to evaluate, is this something that this person did once, and is trying to become better? Or is this something that's constantly happening that they continue to go out and do what they're doing?
And we're being very clear by saying that we're not saying this is the way you should do it. We're not saying if that happens you should leave or you shouldn't leave, but you have to then evaluate your situation. It's not what Katisha said, your friend Katisha, Tasha, Emily, Alicia, Kelly. Right. It's you evaluating your relationship, thinking about the intentions of that person. Where are we heading in this relationship? The situation, it's your situation. So we're just saying evaluate that situation. Take your time and you evaluate your relationship.
Right. Another one that came up was abuse. I personally don't think a man should ever punch or hit I just don't think that is ever acceptable. If you're being abused in a relationship and somebody's, physically beating you on a regular basis, I'm not going to, again, I can't say...
Not even on a regular basis.
If they're punching you, you should seriously consider walking away from that situation.
Evaluate the situation. Again,
Deeply.
we're not saying what you should or shouldn't do, but what I can say in this situation is I can actually speak on experience. I have been in a physical, mental, emotional, abusive relationship. And I stayed for a really, really long time. I think the first time it happened, it was such a shock. And I was raised like, if a man put his hands on you, that is it. He lucky if he is still walking this earth, or that he has that thing down there that God gave him to birth, to have kids. That's just how I was taught.
Right.
And so when it happened, you know, it was crazy, because I always thought that if that ever happened to me, I'm going to jump up and I'm just going to go Karate Kid on somebody. And that's actually not what happened. I was so shocked that I think I probably just sat there like, for a moment, did this just happen? And I think that may happen a lot the first time that happens to a woman. Like, wow, did this just really happen? And a lot of times you don't give that reaction that you planned your whole entire life, and that your mama told you just what you better do, you don't do it. And I actually ended up letting it go and hid it. Didn't say anything to anyone for years about it. And obviously, because of that one time, it happened again. And then other things happened again. And I found myself stuck in this situation, and it took time, and I understand, because I've been there, that it takes time. And I know if you've never experienced, it's so easy to say, I will probably kill him or hurt him, and I will not take that. But when you're in the situation, it can be really, really confusing. And it took me time, but for myself, me thinking about my worth, my future, I had to leave. And there was no evaluating that situation. I evaluated it for way too long. The first time should have been the last time for me, because if it was, then the other times wouldn't have happened.
Right.
So for me, I just say there's no evaluating that, because once he gets away with something like that, or she, because women, there are men who are physically abused or mentally abused, emotionally abused. That's it.
And I don't, you know, and I know there are people that are probably watching the video that are in a situation like that. I don't think by any means we're judging you.
No.
Because the thing
I've
about
been
it
there.
I've witnessed abuse. I witnessed it with personal family members. I won't say their names because a lot of them watch my videos. But I witnessed it for several years, and not understanding why, you know, I mean, out of everything that's happened in this situation, you continue to go back to this person. I remember as a child not understanding that, seeing it with my mom. I saw my mom be abused. I saw a lot of that, and not really understanding why women stayed, or why, you know, whoever stayed. And, you know, I did kind of learn that, you know, people will leave when they're ready, you know. But I'm just saying, for the people who have asked us about that, you know, abuse is not a joke. You know, I know that everybody says, you know, just work it out, you know, work it out.
Talk to somebody.
But
everybody's, honestly, it's not, nobody has the solution for you.
Right.
Honestly, the only way that I got out of that situation was within me,
right,
and so much prayer. I mean, I can still feel the days that I was driving in the car crying and praying to God to take these feelings that I had for that person away, to help me to move on and keep me strong. I can still see myself in that car and feel what I was feeling. Nothing nobody could have said to me. Plenty of people, you know, everybody thinks they have the solution, and they don't. It's within you, and you have to build up your strength to make the right decision for you and your life. And that's just it.
Right. So we will say that in those situations, you know, you should consider walking away. And I have personally witnessed abuse escalate to murder, you know, and I won't go into that particular story, but it was not somebody that I was related to, but it can go that far. So just be very mindful in that situation and understand that it's not okay. It's not normal. it's not one of those situations where people say just work through it. It has other issues related to it that need to be addressed. The other thing that kind of came up that I felt like we should talk about. I know there was infidelity, there was abuse. There was another topic, and now we're just kind of talking from an FAQ. I'm just trying to address all the serious matters that have been addressed to us that we did kind of avoid because, our channel is so happy-go-lucky, we laughing, but these are people who really want help in situations. And there was a girl, she was 17 years old, and she felt like she really loved her boyfriend. And her parents didn't approve of the relationship because of whatever reason or whatever. And she addressed the question to us, if you love somebody, should you care what your parents think, And we avoided this because we don't want to be responsible for telling anybody's child anything. I do want to say this, though. When you're 17 years old, there's a lot of things that you just have not experienced in life. I'm not saying that you don't know what you know, but you just haven't experienced enough. And all I can really say in that situation is focus on your future. If there are things if there's a relationship that's getting in the way of your future, you really should consider walking away from that situation because you're 17 and there's nothing I can tell you now that's gonna make you realize what I'm saying.
There was nothing, Mama. That's what I'm thinking. There was nothing. When you're 17, you ask for the advice, but
right.
Do you really want the advice, or do you really just want to hear what you want to hear? And that's not to say that you can't be in love, or you don't feel like you're in love,
right.
or that this relationship isn't serious.
Right.
Just, understand that you are still young and you have a whole big life to live, and you're going to run across so many people and experience so many other things. And if that relationship is meant to be, it's a great relationship, then you can still have that relationship but still be focused on your future and do those things that you need to do for yourself. So when you're an adult, you're not just stuck in this relationship and that's pretty much all you have. And then your mama is like, that's what,
right.
That's what I was telling you. You should have,
Right. Because I wish I would have had somebody to explain to me that phase of your life is a building phase. You're building your future. You're building who you're going to be in the next few years. And regardless of whether it's a relationship or anything, don't let anything get in the way of those years, whether it's an unexpected pregnancy or whether it's, there's so many things that get in the way of those years, and they're so important. Those years from now until the time you finish college at 21, 19, 20, some people finish at 19, 20, 21. Those years are very, very important. So my advice in that situation is just focus on your future, and understand that you're going to experience a lot of things over the next few years that may change how you feel about that person.
And that is why your parents, because it's a parent thing to do. We want to, don't do what we did. A lot of times that's what it is.
Right.
Don't make the mistakes we made. And so they're telling you that because they already know, because they've experienced it, this is what's going to happen. You got a whole life to live, and you got to do this.
Right.
So we're not saying, and I don't think even your parents are saying, well, you're not really in love. And some parents do say that, but I'm not saying that you're not really in love and you're not feeling those emotions. And I know people, like best friend of mine who was in a relationship when we were in high school, and her and her husband have been married for a while now. They've been together ever since. They have a child. So their relationships that work, but also they both went to college. They both have great jobs and they have a great life together. So they still stayed focused on their future.
Right.
So just don't get so caught up, basically get caught up in that situation, in that one moment of your life, and forget about everything else. Because really that's why your parents are so scared and worried, because they're scared you're going to focus on this relationship and nothing else is going to happen with your life, and you're going to make some huge mistakes.
Right.
That's going to really impact your future.
Right. And trust too that if he loves you, if this guy loves you as much as you say he loves you and you love him, he will be around. While you're going to college and while you're, he's going to make those strides. So if it is meant to be, it'll stay. But I just want to make sure that the most important point is that you are in a very important phase of your life, and the most important thing is building your future. So that's all. So this is very emotional for me because I just, you know, coming from me and my wife talk about this all the time. We had no examples of what marriage was supposed to be growing up, or how a relationship was supposed to be. So now being in a marriage with my wife and being able to talk about some of the things that we really taught ourselves is emotional for me, because I do wish I would have been able to see it as a child, or I would have been able to experience it as a child, but it's done. You know, I can't go back, can't change that. And it's something that's important to me. I'm not here to teach anybody anything, because I'm still learning, but just to be able to share my experiences. And one thing I want to tell you guys, and I really, really want you to listen to this, is that these videos are just as much therapy for me and my wife as they are as they are sharing with you guys. Every time we get in front of a video and talk about, you know, dating each other and challenges, it's therapy for us. It really is.
That's a big reason why we even really got into doing it, because once we did it and we realized how it really sparked the fire even more in us and got us, you know, to really, you know, diving in and continue to work on our relationship. It made us want to, well, let's keep on doing this, because it makes us, because sometimes, you know, like we said, we're not perfect, and we go on a day-to-day just like every other person. We're just normal, everyday people. We're your next-door neighbor, right. Literally. So for us, when we sit down and we're doing these videos and we started these conversations, or we're reading something that we're going to talk about with you guys, it brings it up in us, and it makes us think about things in our relationship.
Right.
So it's very important for us, right. And that's why we do it.
Right. So, guys, if you have any questions, I mean, I know Alicia does a FAQ Friday for. I think we're going to start doing these videos on a regular basis, and we are going to address the tough questions, because I don't want to avoid it. I know we're going to get comments. I know sometimes people are going to say, but to me, it really doesn't matter, because there may be somebody who really needed to hear what we're talking about.
I just needed to hear something.
You know, somebody to say something, and I'm not going to ignore those questions. So, if you have something that you're going through, that you like our input, because again, we're not psychologists or anything like that. We're just speaking from our own experiences. We'd love to share with you. And
we're not necessarily giving solutions.
Right.
We're not giving solutions. We're just discussing our experiences with these things and how it made us feel, or would make us feel. And sometimes people just need to hear that, because they may not have anybody to talk to or anybody to hear, or they may not even want to tell somebody, and they just happen to be sitting in front of this video and like, my God, I just needed to hear something, you know?
All right, guys, so that's it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but it'll be a surprise.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And like always, leave your comments down below. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
For some strange reason, God blessed me with my perfect